Hi friend, I just wanted to take a minute to invite you to our Lash Biz Babes Experience 2026. This is a one-day all online event happening on May 2nd, and our theme for the year is going all in. We are shaking things up and doing it differently than anyone ever has before. This is going to be an all online event as usual, but it's going to be 100% a curated journey throughout your day as we guide you through the mindset, strategy, and passion needed to go all in on your business to make it your best year in business yet. All lash artists, estheticians, and beauty professionals are invited to join us. There will be guided sessions, interactive workshops, a panel discussion, and big giveaways happening throughout that whole day. And tickets are on sale now for only $199. Payment plans are available. Let's go all in on our businesses for 2026 together. All the details and the link for tickets are down in the show notes below. I would love to have you join us online in May. Hello, welcome to today's live. I'm super excited to talk to you guys today because I did a free coaching day, like questions day yesterday, and I got a ton of questions about clientele building and like what to do if my book slow down. So let's talk about it. Go ahead and say hi as you get on. In the comments, let me know where you're watching from. If you're catching the replay, drop me a hashtag replay in the comments so that I can come through and say hi. And hopefully you guys can hear me okay. If anyone that is on can let me know. My toddler made my phone holder disappear, so you guys are set up like just on my computer, so hopefully all the sound and everything is working okay. But like I said, today we're going to be talking about clientele building and what no one is telling you about it. I don't think I have ever heard any other coach or course or anyone really talk about this even just on social media before, and that is distinguishing the difference between short-term marketing methods to build your clientele and long-term marketing methods to build your clientele. So today we're going to distinguish the two, give you some examples of some of them and when you would want to use both of them and like the pros and cons and things, so that you're able to build your clientele throughout every stage of your business and keep your books full consistently without the burnout and the overwhelm and the unsustainability that most beauty business owners run into as they are building their clientele. So if you guys have questions at all throughout any of this, be dropping them in the comments. I would love to answer them for you. Even if you are watching the replay, feel free to be dropping your questions in the comments. But we'll go ahead and just jump on into it. So distinguishing the difference between short-term and long-term. Obviously, I think most beauty business owners goal long-term, especially if you are someone who really wants to take it full-time and quit your 9-to-5 and like really have a successful, thriving beauty business, is to have consistent bookings and to be able to book clients with ease, and be able to book clients consistently, and obviously not run into like that burnout and that overwhelm that can come with clientele building. So the issue with that, the problem I see happen so often, is that everyone has this long-term goal of building a consistent clientele and getting those clients in the door and, you know, having them come back and getting the repeat clients and building that loyal clientele. Like, everyone wants that, but what they're utilizing the most are short-term marketing methods that will get you a quick client or two, and it ends up being unsustainable for them. It ends up leading to burnout, it ends up leading to overwhelm, or just not having very many clients booking and then wondering, where am I going wrong? What can I be doing to get clients in the door? Things like that. And so that's the problem, is that most people are utilizing the short-term methods. So to give you an example of some short-term marketing methods, and these are things that are going to get you a quick client or two, but they are things that you would have to do over and over again to be able to get clients in the door. And so these are things like responding to, and before I tell you some of these examples, these are not necessarily bad things to be doing to build your clientele. They are ways to get clients in the door. However, it's what I consider like a quick fix. It's going to get you that quick client or two. It doesn't build that sustainability or that consistency into your building your clientele. So I've done these kinds of things before. I'm sure all of us have. There's nothing wrong with these things. It's just short-term methods. And like I said, it's good to know short-term and long-term to be able to fill spots in your book consistently. So short-term methods: responding to Facebook recommendation posts, taking models, doing giveaways, posting on places like Facebook Marketplace or the yard sale groups in your area on Facebook, reaching out to past clients, or like offering a discount or a special. These are some examples of short-term marketing methods that can get a quick client in the door, that can fill in like last-minute spots in your schedule. And, just really getting clients in the door initially. Maybe you're just getting started with your business and you're really wanting to, obviously you need to get clients in the door to start making money faster, right? So these are when that would be a great time to be utilizing short-term marketing methods. Is like if your books are slowing down, you need to get clients in the door, you have last-minute openings, things like that. So those are great methods to use in those cases. But the thing about these methods, these short-term methods, like I said, they're not a bad thing to utilize. There are instances where they are great methods and strategies to take advantage of. However, if you have to do these methods every single time you need to get a client booked, every single time that you have an opening on your schedule, that's when it's going to lead to burnout, it's going to lead to overwhelm, and it's going to lead to unsustainability when you have to do that every single time. So for example, if you have to run a Groupon or run a discount or a special every time you need to get clients in the door, that's going to be unsustainable for you and cut into your profits long term. If you have to do a giveaway every time you have openings on your schedule, obviously that's not going to be sustainable. You're not going to be able to do that every single time you need to get clients in the door. If you have to take a model every time you need clients, again, that's going to lead to burnout. That's going to lead to unsustainability in building your clientele, because these are quick fixes. They're going to get a client or two in the door right away, potentially, but it's not something that you're going to want to do every single time or consistently to be able to get your books full with that sustainability and that consistency that you want to see. And like I was saying a little bit ago, this is the problem that most people run into, is that they are utilizing these short-term marketing strategies to try to build their clientele in the long term, and that's why they run into that burnout and that overwhelm with it. So hopefully that makes sense. Like I said, if you guys have questions, be dropping them in the comments below. But there are those situations where short-term methods are great to utilize, and this is why it's important to know the difference between the two and to distinguish the difference between the two, so that you know when to be utilizing each of them to build in that consistency into your clientele and be able to keep your books full. So those are short-term methods. Now we're going to talk about long-term methods. So to give you some example of long-term clientele building methods. So this is like having optimized social media pages. So that means optimized means you're making the most effective use of it. So with that means, clients are going to be able to find your pages. They're going to be able to find your page, find your business, know that your business exists in their area, and they're going to be able to find all the information they need to get about you to be able to book with you. So basically, an optimized social media page is going to allow people to find you, find the information they need to book with you, to booking with you, and that going through that whole process, find your page, get that information, find how to book with you, find the details about your services, book the appointment. With there's a flow established there. It goes from step to step to step, and it doesn't necessarily require you to be actively using social media or actively helping them through that process to get them booked. So that's why optimized social media pages are so great, because it's going to help you get clients booked with less time and effort on your part. So that's one example of a long-term marketing method and a long-term marketing strategy. And then other examples are having a well set up Google My Business page, having a detailed website is a long-term strategy, and then having a 5-star client experience to get word of mouth going for you, to spread that word of mouth. That takes some time sometimes to build that momentum with, especially if you are a new business or if you are new to a particular area or you don't know a lot of people in that area. It takes time to build up that word of mouth. So And then the last example I have for you is just building your local online following. So really getting those local followers who live in your area who could actually potentially book an appointment with you, and building and establishing that really strong like online local presence so that people can find you and they do know your business exists and they are seeing your content. But obviously we're not just going to get like a ton of like local followers overnight. That is something that takes consistency to build up into. Now you can explode your local following quickly. It just doesn't happen overnight. So for example, when I moved to a new town, I went from 0% local followers in my new area to 20% local followers in my new area in like a span of 6 weeks or so. So that's why I'm saying it's more of a long-term strategy. It's not something that's going to get you that quick client booked the next day, but it will get you clients booked long-term and consistently long-term. So that's the difference between those short-term strategies and the long-term strategies. So with the long-term strategies, what this is going to allow for you is for you to get those consistent bookings. It's going to allow you the ability to fill spots at any point in your journey, whether you are new, whether you have clients booked and you need to fill in those last spots, or whether you are generally pretty booked out and fully booked, but you have openings sometimes, which is what happens. Even when you do have a full clientele, you have a pretty consistent clientele, sometimes you will have openings on your schedule for reasons like a client drops off, a client moves, they go to somebody else, they take a break, whatever the reason might be, you'll end up having spots that open up. So that's why when you are at that point where you are mostly booked and you are like pretty consistently booked, it's still important to have like these long-term strategies in place, or even the short-term strategies in place to be able to get those spots filled consistently. But the long-term strategies are also really great ways to get spots filled when your books slow down as well, because then you can kind of just like focus a little bit more on those long-term strategies and ramp things up, because once you have these strategies, long-term ones in place, that's when it's going to be really easy to go on your stories and be like, hey, I have this opening, and get it filled really quickly, because that only works when you have local followers. So when you've built that local following, then that helps you with that long-term strategy and helps you get quick bookings as well. So really the key with clientele building and consistency with clientele building, let me say one more thing before I get to that. Just with the long-term strategies, so this is great for building consistency into your clientele growth and to build momentum, which the momentum is what you want to have built if you want to be able to consistently book or consistently build your clientele, consistently book new clients without a lot of time or effort on your part. So it is that momentum, that's what gets clients finding with you and booking with you with way less time and effort on your part. So that distinguishes the difference between short-term methods and long-term methods. And like I was saying earlier, it's important to have both of these in place to be able to consistently build your clientele, because when you know the difference between something that's going to get you a quick client in the door or like a last minute booking versus what's going to fill your books up consistently throughout the entirety of the year, throughout like that long-term growth and progression of your business, then you're going to be set up to be able to fill in those spots no matter what, and not have to worry about where you're going to get your next client from, because you know, okay, here's what I can do to get a quick client or two. Here's what I can do to make sure that I am getting bookings out in advance, that clients are able to find me so that I don't have to run into this burnout and this overwhelm with building my clientele by having to offer discounts all the time or do giveaways all the time, or could be constantly like posting in the yard sale groups on Facebook. And like I said, those aren't bad things to be doing. Those are great short-term methods to utilize for like that quick client or two to like jumpstart your clientele as you're getting started, or like as you are moving and getting started in a new area. But it just does not lead to that sustainability and those consistent bookings. So this is so important to know the difference between, if you are someone who really wants to take like control of your clientele building next year, or at all really, But if you're someone who, especially if you want to go full time, if you want to have that consistency in your clientele building, if you want to kick that like overwhelm and burnout and stress of booking clients to the curb, this is going to be what makes the difference for you, is really setting yourself up, not just for the short term things and not just having to do those over and over and over again every time you need to get clients, but also taking the time to schedule into your week, to schedule into your day, time to focus on your long-term marketing strategies. What are you doing to help you book clients a month from now and not just this week? So that is the key to building a sustainable, loyal, consistent clientele, and being able to fill in those open spots no matter when you have them, is having those long-term marketing strategies in place as well, and not just focusing on the things, those short-term things that are going to get clients in the door really quickly for you, like a client or two in the door the next day kind of thing. So if you guys have questions on this, let me know in the comments, or if you had any aha moments, if this was like, oh my gosh, like a light bulb flipped on for you, I would love to hear about that, because once I know for myself with my clientele building journey, and with my, like when I added another lash artist to my studio last year and needed to build her clientele and went on that journey, when I recognized the difference between these two strategies, that's when we really saw like more consistent bookings happening. That's when I was able to really just like take a step back from social media and not have to like worry about it as much, and still be getting like consistent bookings in. And I'm seeing a couple people join. Hello. So if you are struggling with building your clientele, here's what I want you to think about going into 2023. Is first off to assess what your clientele goals are, because it is important to have like a goal established so that you have something to work towards, and you can be getting yourself in like a game plan every day and establishing like, okay, here's what I can be doing today to work towards building my clientele, not just in the short term, but also in the long term, so that you can be getting your books filled ahead of time and being proactive on that. Because it's a lot easier to get those bookings ahead of time than being like, okay, what can I do to get a client in this week? Like, I've got 5 openings, how am I going to get them filled, type of thing. So assess what your clientele goals are. Have that established. If you can nail down a number of how many clients you want to book or how many clients you need to book, that can be really great. That's something we talked about in last week's clientele building masterclass. And then also start thinking about what went well this year to get you clients. Like, audit your year. Think about, okay, how did I get clients in the door this year? And can that be something that I repeat or make into a repeatable system to be able to get clients in the door more consistently? Can I do that again? And then think about what didn't go well. Like, maybe you spent a lot of time on Instagram or like a lot of time on Facebook groups and didn't see a lot of clients booking from that. Then that can be something that you either say, okay, I'm going to shift my focus to something else on what's working really well for me instead, or what do I need to adjust to make this strategy or this platform or this method work better for me? Because just because we keep doing things over and over again doesn't mean that it's going to help us build our clientele or that we'll see the results, right? And so think about, what went well to get you clients? Can you repeat that? What didn't go well? How can you adjust that or shift your focus to be able to find out what is working well? And if you don't know where you're getting clients from, that is something you want to change immediately going into the new year. Not even going into the new year. Start immediately now. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. She said you look so pretty, love. That is seriously the kindest thing, because I have been like in my, oh my gosh, thank you. Seriously. I think once you get like so pregnant, wow, pregnancy hormones gonna make me cry. Okay. You just get so pregnant sometimes that you don't even like feel pretty. I hate that feeling, and I think most of us could probably relate to that. But anyway, thank you for your compliment. That just made my day. I'm such a crier. Anyway, so like I was saying, what went well, what didn't go well. I feel like such a baby for crying over that, but seriously, thank you. Anyway, back on track. But think about what went well, what didn't go well, and just thinking about, okay, how can I adjust my strategy moving forward? Because just because you continue to do the same thing over and over again doesn't mean that like it's going to get you the results that you want, right? And so if you're seeing that something's not working, like adjust that to try and get it to work better or shift your focus. And what I was saying is, if you don't have a question on your consent form already to know like where you're getting clients from, add that like right after you get off this video. I want you to go in and adjust that and add that in, because you want to know what's working to get you clients. You want to know where you're getting them from so that you know what's working for you. So I always knew that I got the most clients from Instagram, then Google My Business, then Facebook, then word of mouth. Those were my top 4. So that helped me know, okay, what I'm doing on Instagram is really working well for me. And so then I can really focus my efforts and know that like, okay, obviously this is working out well, so I'm going to keep this consistency up. But then I could also know that, okay, word of mouth maybe isn't getting me as many clients, so what can I be doing to adjust that to make this work better for me moving forward? Or like Facebook, yeah, I got clients from there, but maybe it wasn't working as well. So it's like, okay, how can I adjust my strategy with that to help it get me more clients moving forward? Or maybe it could just be something where it's like, okay, I know I'm getting the most clients from Instagram right now, so I'm just really going to focus all my efforts on Instagram. That can be an option for you too, but you need to know where you're getting the clients from to begin with. So add that question in on your consent form if you don't have it on there. I promise you that's really going to help you. But just to wrap things up, you know, building your clientele and getting that consistency in your bookings, it does take that consistency and that effort to build that momentum to begin with. Obviously, we want to get these long-term strategies set up. We want to set ourselves up for success. We want to have those optimized pages that are getting found in searches. We want to have those local followers that know our business exists. We want to establish that word of mouth marketing that spreads it for us so that we can have clients finding us and booking with us, and have to be a part of that process a lot less, and not have to be like actively, you know, running giveaways or actively booking clients or things like that. And when I say actively booking clients, I mean like manually booking clients. So that you have that momentum, and then once you have that momentum built and people are finding you, booking with you, you are, you know, you've really got it going and you're building and building on it, then really all it takes to build your clientele with that and to keep those spots filled consistently is maintenance. It's just, okay, I'm going to keep up on my content creation. I'm going to post on Google My Business. I'm going to, you know, do these little like action steps that have helped you build that momentum, but you don't have to do them as often. And you get to spend way less time and effort marketing yourself and way more time with clients and making money. And that's where the magic happens. That's when you get to make more money. That's when you get to have consistency and way less stress. You get to have freedom to go enjoy life more outside of business, because I know if you were anything like me, you're probably stressing a lot about building your clientele outside of work hours. So things to think about. And if you are someone who really wants to build your clientele and create and establish that momentum and get those long-term strategies in place, my online course, Booked Out Blueprint, is for you. So this really focuses on the long-term strategies of building your clientele, the ones that are going to build that sustainability into building your clientele, the ones that are going to build the consistency into your clientele growth. We really focused on making sure your pages are optimized, getting the correct content on there that's going to attract your ideal clients in your area, building your local following, getting your Google My Business page set up and staying consistent on it to where it does get you bookings while you are sleeping or walking through Target. There's no better feeling than waking up to new appointment requests while you've been sleeping, or you're like walking through Target and you're like, oh my gosh, look, someone just booked. And it's like you're enjoying your life, you're living your life, and you're getting clients booking. And that's what having those long-term strategies in place can do for you. And that's exactly what Booked Out Blueprint helps you to do, is really focus on the long-term consistency of building your loyal clientele and getting them to come back to you, which is also a really important part of that. So if you guys have questions on Booked Out Blueprint, let me know. You can drop them in the comments, you can DM me. But the link for it is in my bio, or if you were listening to the podcast version of this, I'm going to put the Booked Up Blueprint link in the show notes. You guys can get more details about the course. But thank you so much for being here today. I hope this was seriously so helpful for you, because I know that when I understood the difference between short-term and long-term marketing strategies to build my clientele, it was a game changer for me. It really helped me to be able to enjoy life more outside of business, be more present with my kids, and not like awake at midnight. Okay, I think I'm back. Hopefully we're good. Someone tried to call me. Anyway, then I wasn't having to lay in bed at night wondering like what else can I be doing, because I knew I had these systems in place that I could rely on that were going to get me clients booked, and I didn't have to worry about it anymore, which was amazing. And so if you want that in your business, Booked Out Blueprint is a great option for you. It is a wonderful course that teaches you all about creating these long-term strategies and putting them in place effectively to get your clientele built. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out, and thank you so much for being here today. I will see you guys again soon.